Hi folks, welcome back to the Total Water Polo podcast, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I get to speak to my hero this week. It's a massive fangirl moment for me. We're speaking to the legendary Romanian centre forward, Cosmin Radu, and I mean, this guy, he's just unreal. He made playing centre forward look so easy, no matter how many players would drop around him, crowded around him. Whenever the ball went into the pit, invariably he'd just find a way to score. He had a remarkable career over 25 years in Italy, Croatia, and of course for the Romanian national team. Look, just before we start, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe or a review if you can, and of course don't miss out on 10% off at wearwaterpolo.com with our discount code podcast10. Anyway, let's get on with the episode with Cosmin Radu. Cosmin, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Great, thanks for having me.
No, the honour is ours. Honestly, I've been very excited, very looking forward to this. We've got lots to talk about. We'll talk about your playing days, your time with the national team, club polo, and obviously your all the stuff going on after. But let's start right back, maybe in the late 80s, early 90s. When you started water polo, back then in Romania, you started in Bucharest. What was it like? What was your water polo from a young age like?
Well, I started playing water polo at the age of 11, if I remember well. It was one of the sports that I was trying to do. I was passing from one to the other. And one of my friends, my close family friends, was playing water polo, so he kind of suggested that I could go and play. So basically, I went to the pool, saw the kids, saw the other kids playing with a ball in the water, and it sort of got off from there because I really loved it. I was kind of tricked into it because the first year I didn't even touch the ball. I was just swimming, and obviously that didn't help a lot because I've always been a pretty bad swimmer. But that's how it actually started.
You were tricked into it. Wow. Okay. All right. You said there that you swam for a year and stuff. What was the setup like in Romania when you were 11? So that would have been in 91, 92 maybe. Was there a big kind of club setup, or was it quite minor sport?
I started playing for Rapid, which is one of the big clubs from Romania. We don't have a lot of clubs in Bucharest or in Romania. And went there, and there was a setup. I actually started practicing in one pool. Unfortunately, it got closed, and ended up practicing and playing in another pool where everybody was training during those years. Now it changed a lot because that pool is not the only pool that everybody practice. Now every team has its own pool from Bucharest. Most of the teams. There are three big teams: Steaua, Dinamo, and Rapid. And they all have their own pools. So it kind of changed from there. It developed. We have a better chance for the kids to go somewhere and learn water polo.
You've told us before at Total that you kind of thought you'd be a pro water polo player very early on. How did you know that? And was it just a dream, or was it an insane amount of belief?
I think it's a combination of everything. When I was little, my coach from back then, from the juniors, showed some photos of his older players that made it up. They were playing in Italy, they were playing abroad, and he said that these are the guys that you should look up to, and you should try to be as them. And I was 11, 12. I that was my goal in the beginning, just to play at the top level. I remember wanting to play in Italy, and then going on from there. I was a little bit fortunate being a lefty. You get more opportunities, and you kind of realize that, and that's why I always thought about playing water polo. I loved it because I've always loved it, and I won't say that I wasn't talented, but I also worked a lot because I was stubborn and I didn't like losing in any way.
You just said something there. Maybe you weren't the most talented, but you worked hard. Were you always a fairly top player for your age group, or was that not the case for a long period of time?
Yes, yeah, I was, but I also think that it had to do with the fact that I was a lefty. Again,
Okay.
playing against I've been always kind of talented scoring goals. That was my quality, and the defenders had trouble keeping up with me in some way. I always found a way to score, I guess. But in the first years, I started playing on the right side. So actually, my water polo education started as a lefty. So in my mind, I've never seen myself as a center. I always thought about, let's say, being able to do everything. So I think that helped me a lot.
Wow, you don't see yourself as a centre. Okay, interesting.
No, imagine that I played in '96 at Maribor at the European Juniors. I played on the right side, so right after that I made a move to center. So that's what I'm saying. Up until the age of 15, I played on the right side. So
Is that a bit of advice you'd give to a lot of young players not to necessarily specialize really, really early on? Try and adapt, try and play in different positions and learn more about different aspects of the game.
that I think it's necessary, but at the same time, when you're young, I think you should be able to do everything. And afterwards, the coach should see in you what you're capable of doing, because in the end, he's the one deciding where you're playing. But yeah, I I was. The truth was that I was too slow to play on the wings. So the coach did the best thing that he could do. He saw that I loved fighting, so he put me in the center. So
I love that.
yeah,
I
that
love
was
that.
it.
Not quick enough. Likes a bit of a scrap. Put him in centre forward. We
Yeah,
we love to hear that.
get the
Um,
best out of him.
um, look, you had a successful time with Rapid Bucharest, the club that you played for. You won a few titles for seniors. On the whole, good memories to start your water polo career off.
I think so, because I was fortunate enough passing. Okay, the first 2 years passing from the seniors to juniors. I started playing at the age of 16 for the seniors. So the first 2 years they weren't so good. We weren't a top caliber team, but we had a chance to get a sponsor afterwards, and we made a very good team, and we started winning. So it gave me the possibility to actually grow from year to year, to get tougher games to play at the beginning of the season, to actually play in the Champions League. Yeah, a few games, then we would get kicked out, but still we get. I remember playing one tournament against Barcelona, Brescia, and I think Partizan qualifiers. Like, and that was a great experience to have at the age of 18. I think it should be for everyone. So those years were great years for me to get a better player, and to become more of a threat. Let's put it like that, and to prepare me to go to Italy, because that was in my planning since I was little.
Sure. So you've said it was in your planning from a young age. We'll talk about going to Florentina then. One of the first questions I was going to ask was what was your mindset, but it seems pretty clear that when your coach was showing you the photo of sunny Italy and water polo and everything, it seems like that was very much um, a goal for you. Um, is it true that your parents wouldn't let you go until you'd finished at uni?
It wasn't that they didn't let me go. They wanted me to do the university, so they thought it was important to have, let's put it, to have an alternative in case something happens, in case shit. Because when I was 15, I got injured. I broke my eardrum, and the first doctor that saw me said, "Oh, your career is over." I remember starting crying, and my dad said, "Okay, don't worry about that. we're gonna see another doctor, and obviously
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the other doctor gave
Of
another
course.
another speech, and I played afterwards.
Yeah,
So I was fortunate enough not to have a lot of injuries during my career, and most of them minor. But I've always thought, what if something happens and I have to be ready to work? So university was a big part of my life. I didn't want to leave Romania. I had offers to go outside to play outside since I was 18. So
yeah. I was actually just going to ask you that. Obviously, Italy was always in your mind, but you obviously got to the age where you wanted to go and play elsewhere. What other options were there for you?
in those times,
Yes.
well, if I remember, I don't want to. I think there were one or two, one from France, maybe one from Russia. Yeah, so there are other countries that wanted to. They saw me playing in a national team. I think that was the great advantage that I got to play at the age of 18. Yeah, 2019. I got to play with a national team, so everybody got to see me playing early, and they started getting interested. Even though they weren't big teams, they wanted me to play for them.
Yeah, yeah. And you eventually did go to Italy, and you've told us before that a big part of your, in quotation marks, water polo education was in Italy. You've mentioned Riccardo Tempesti had a huge impact on you. In what ways did he have a big impact on you? What did he teach you about the game?
Well, I think that in Romania I was playing a lot by instinct. Like mostly, I'm talking mostly about defense, not even offense. I used to do a lot of. I think that I should be here. I think that guy should be going there, and so on and so on. And once I got to Italy, uh, there was a lot of tactics, a lot of explaining, a lot of putting by hand. You're supposed to be in this position, and it really gave me a lot of knowledge about water polo. I think it helped me a lot. Taught me how to be a better player, and I
Mm,
really appreciated that.
yeah. You think maybe your defense was the biggest thing that you improved
Both,
maybe
no,
in
not
those.
only defense, on all sides. But it came to my mind that we used to practice. I don't know, on Thursday night we would have offense and defense preparing for the next game. And after half an hour, 45 minutes of practicing, my head would hurt as if I was for 6 hours in the university, because I wasn't used with thinking all the time, paying attention to what I have to do, and so that was something that changed me for sure.
And you were a young man in Italy, and you were living your dream. Was it all perfect, really, or was there ever times you thought, actually, this isn't really what I hoped it would be?
I was fortunate enough to live in a city, Florence, and have teammates that were really like family. So that really helped. We used to be together most of the time, and it was really great. I had a great captain there. I actually learned a lot from him, and it kind of gave me some pointers how to be as a person and as a captain when I became one. So that helped a lot.
So you're in Florence for maybe seven years or so. In 2011, obviously, you were forced to leave, and I believe that was due to financial complications. Um, was that at that point? Did you think, "Oh, mum and dad were right. Suddenly, I need to have an alternative option. I've got my degree." I think you were maybe 29 at the time. Did
Mm,
you ever think, you know what? I've had a nice crack in Italy. It was my dream. Now it's time to do something different, or was it always obvious to you that you were going to go to Mladost?
well, at that point, I was pretty good. Let's put it like this.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So I thought that was basically the peak of my career. I didn't want to move from Florence, but due to the situation, I had to. I was sad back then, but now I'm actually all right with it because the path that I took was really nice, really great. And no, I never thought about starting to do something else in that period because I had plenty of offers, thank God, to 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 play. Actually, that was not never been a problem for me from this point of view. Like again, I'm saying I was lucky enough to have this problem to be called by by a lot of teams. So
Yeah,
yeah,
called by a lot of teams, one
yeah,
of which was Mladost, and I don't want to skip over them. I'll maybe come back to them, obviously, because you came back to them. But maybe just talk about after Mladost. You went to Primorje, and the pronunciation there is terrible, by the way.
yeah. It's alright.
So go on. Do you want to correct me?
Primorje. It's
Primorje. All right, I'll
Primorje.
just edit that in. I'll edit that in. Primorje. So you went to Primorje, and you have said maybe before, suggested that that was probably the best team you ever played in.
True.
The players, the Varga brothers, Sukno, Obradovic, Javi Garcia. What was it like playing in? Nowadays that sort of team would be compared with, Pro Reco
Yeah,
or like a
yeah.
superstar
Well,
team.
uh, I think it was a team that was well made. It was constructed correctly. We had players on all positions, and we. It's hard to say in words how it felt. You knew you were going to the pool to win. There wasn't another option. Like every game, it was just for the win. You would go there, and it was an advantage also because the other teams knew that they didn't really stand a chance, and they were putting up sort of fight, but that didn't change the fact that all the players in the team were trying to do their best at the games. So it actually was. There were 3 years of that from 2013 until 2016. There were changes in the team, but still we had an awesome team, great team. It was made to win.
With all respect to maybe Rapid Bucharest and Mlados and the club in Italy, do you think this was the first time that you weren't the best player in the team?
No, it wasn't actually. No,
No,
it
not
wasn't.
the first time. No,
Not the first time. No, I was
no.
in Mladost. I played with Vanja Udovicic. So
Wow.
the
Yeah.
year before, yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was a really great player.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
even better than me.
I'll phone him up and I'll text him and ask. I'll text him and ask. Um,
No, I mean, I really didn't care because everyone has to be the best at his position. So I really didn't care. I played in teams where I was the best, and it didn't help too much. So I really didn't care about that factor. I wanted to win, always wanted to win. So as long as you have 6, 7, 8, which are the best at their position, who cares?
yeah.
Who's the best?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as the team
It wasn't
wins.
so much. It wasn't so much. Oh, do you care about being the best? But if you know that you've got other players that can be just as fantastic and perform at just as a high level, it takes a bit of pressure off you, or does it drive you on because you're all trying to?
I think it's a little bit of both because it it takes the pressure off. It gives you more space to do your things. In my case, to actually score, but at the same time, I would get less opportunities than I would get when I was playing, let's say, in a weaker team. So you have to take advantage of those fewer opportunities that you get. Yeah, that's how it works. You get like 3 or 4 chances to score. In my instance, again, we're talking about attack because I was in defense. I was trying not to do many mistakes,
Yeah.
not to put my team into too much of a hole.
Yeah.
But the offense was my thing, and I was trying to take advantage, do the exclusions, score a few goals, 1, 2 goals, and that was it.
Just a word on Rijeka then. The city. You've said before that you love it there. Can you explain a bit more of your relationship with the place?
Well, actually, I have a home there, so for me it
Oh,
was
wow, wow!
yeah,
You've actually got you've got a second home there.
yes. Uh,
Okay. You loved
For
it that
me,
much?
yeah, it was a great surprise. I really love the people there and how they treated me when I came. Adopted me as one of their own from the beginning, and they're people there are very friendly and easy to be with. A lot of fun. The city for me, from my point of view, and it's I think a great place to be. So that's
Yeah.
what actually made me stay for so not stay for so long. I didn't actually want to go from Reef the fourth year, but well, I was professional and I had to do the best for my career.
Yeah. Well, on that, but why did you leave? Did you feel you were being maybe
Uh,
phased out, or
Unfortunately, again, there are financial problems.
okay?
Basically, all the moves that I made were forced by that.
Yeah, it seems like every club you go to, you're putting them in financial.
Yeah, I financially ruined them.
Yeah.
No, it was. You cannot last forever. There are
Of course,
cycles. There are cycles, and they end, and then you have to see what you do next. It's
of
always there.
course, of course. So after after Primorje, you returned to Mladost. Why did you return there? Would you have preferred another a different challenge, maybe elsewhere, in a different country, or were you kind of happy in Croatia? And did you think about retiring? I mean,
I
you were
was,
36. I mean,
yeah, I was thinking about playing one more cycle.
yeah,
What I actually did. Um I didn't want to leave Croatia because I was feeling really, really good there. And also, I knew that going to Mladost, I'm going to find some coaches that I am familiar with, and I know how they make me train, and they know how to make me train. So I thought it was the best in my situation, and I think I had the right choice there because
yeah. You say you did the right thing in your situation, um, and I don't want to make you feel old, but you returned there when you were, as I said, 36, and you know, to be in a physical place where you can compete in your mid to late 30s at such a high level is pretty impressive. Um, was your body was your head telling you one thing and your body telling you another?
I have been told that I had a pretty normal life as in sports life, and I always kept my life balanced. So, but also that's one of the reasons I went to Mladost because of the conditioning coach there, Pero Kuterovac. I knew that he could keep me in shape with what he was doing with the guys, and I didn't feel like going to, I don't know, some team and swim every day for 5,000 meters and get crazy there. And when I knew how we were training in Mladost, so he was a big factor in that decision and in keeping me fit
Yeah,
in my late years.
I mean, God, that conditioning coach, he deserves a pay rise. I
Yeah, I
mean,
know. I
he
totally
should.
agree. I totally agree with
I'm sure. Barcelona or Man City or in football would take him to keep some of those older players. I mean, yeah. Were you ever conscious though, maybe throughout your 30s, that you had to do things differently to maintain a good physical shape and to condition yourself, or actually did you just have good habits all the way through
I
your
think
career?
I was lucky enough to play in teams that had good habits and got used with that, went with them, and I never got to the point when I said, I can't do it anymore. It's too much for me. I was lucky enough to be in the right situation where I could do it. And I went on my own. When I decided to stop, it was my choice, not because I couldn't do it anymore. That's how I wanted to always do it. So
Yeah. Okay. Um, let's talk about the ending of your career, right? Sounds more dramatic than it actually is, but um, you won that title with Mlados in that unbelievable final against Jug, and then obviously you were the one that scored the penalty. It couldn't have been anyone else. All the cliches. It was like a movie. It was the cherry on top. It was, you know, what a crazy ending.
You really cannot write it any better. If you want to make
No.
a movie about it, you can't write it any better.
Yeah, yeah,
We came back we were losing 2-0. So,
yeah,
and I don't think anyone was expecting too much of a fight anymore. Like,
yeah.
I remember even us, we were like, okay, we're gonna play, we're gonna try, we're gonna see what's gonna happen. But unfortunately, at 2-0 against you, it's not like a lot of teams can come back. We went to that fifth game. I think we were pretty confident that we would win. We fought the whole game. I don't remember the sequence when it comes to the scoring, but I do know that Andro Bushke really saved us in the end. He scored really two important goals to for the draw and took us to to the penalties. There, okay, let's say it was easier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Well,
the thing is that when my turn came up, when I was supposed to be shooting the penalty, I kind of knew that I was going to score.
Well, I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you about this. Was that, in a way, the easiest penalty of your career, or was it like? Was it actually quite difficult? Because that, not that it at all would define your career or anything, but like your last touch of a ball, the cameras are there. I mean, for our listeners, we've got it on our Total Water Polo YouTube channel, and you can go and see that, and you can see um, Cosmin's coach is going absolutely mad on the poolside after he scores, and all the players jumping in as you'd expect. But were you 100% sure you were going to score that, or as
I wasn't
sure as you can
100%
be?
sure because you never know.
Or were you
Actually,
happy? Did you feel good? Did you
yeah.
feel good
So
before taking the
and
penalty?
why did I feel good? Because right before shooting the penalty, I think for the other team was Lovren Fatovic supposed to shoot, and he already had missed the previous shot, the first shot, and I was thinking there is no way that he misses two in a row. And
Okay,
but if
that
he
gave you
misses,
confidence.
in my head I was like, if he misses, they're fucked. Like they don't stand a chance. And I wasn't paying attention to talking to myself, and then I turned my head and I saw Marza defending it. I started laughing like crazy because he did the job. He was under pressure. He was the guy that actually did the hard part. And
Yeah.
he then I actually started laughing. I turned around. I saw my teammates on the bench, and I think they saw me too laughing, and they understood it.
Yeah, yeah.
It was all right.
Yeah, yeah. I've never heard someone speak so like calmly and like light-heartedly about a really high pressure situation. But yeah, a really lovely finish to
Well,
your career.
I think everybody would like to find themselves in that situation and to
I
keep
mean, I wouldn't back myself to score against Jug's keeper.
and to be in that position. It's something that you dream your whole life. You
Of
see it
course,
in
of
TV and
course,
you say, "Oh, I'm gonna take advantage of that.
of
I
course,
must."
of course, of course. Look, we'll leave the club career stuff, and we will come back to talking about club polo in a second. But something we've completely brushed over is your international career. We'll talk about that now. And I know you took a lot of pride playing for the national team, and you were the captain for the best part of a decade and a bit. I think it was 12 or 13 years. Do you remember the first time you were called up to the Romanian national team? Do you remember
Yes,
what you felt?
I actually remember the first time I jumped in the water, the first game. I
Yeah.
remember we were in Slovenia, I think. Yeah, in Slovenia, and I was on the bench, obviously. And the coach said, "Okay, go in." And I remember that precise moment when I jumped. I still remember that. I said, "You have to remember that." You have, and I still do. And it was December 1999. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. Do you get any goals in your debut? Did you play well? Do you
I
remember?
don't remember. I think I did. I think I did, but I would like to say
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Without
scoring that much in that period,
sure,
so
sure.
maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to brush over too much of it, but from the Romanian national team, and we will talk about this maybe in when we speak about you as the vice president of the federation. But how do you view your team's performance, the national team's performance from the years maybe 2004 to 2012? You know, missed out on Athens, unfortunately. The same in Beijing. I think you lost to Canada in one of the playoff games, and that kind of it was a real downer. And then eventually you did get to go um, and be an Olympian. But how do you reflect on your international career with Romania? Do you think it was successful? Do you think it could have been a little bit better? Was it a bit underwhelming?
For sure, it could have been better. For sure, because okay, the goal I think of most water polo players is to play at the Olympics. I think so. I don't think I'm wrong. And we lost the last game against Holland in 2000, the qualifiers for Sydney. We lost in Rio in 2004 against Russia. We lost in 2008 against Canada, and we lost in 2016 against Italy. So the last game for the qualifiers out of, let's say, I want to say in 2020 that we had a great chance because we didn't even qualify for the last part, but in those four qualifiers it really felt as if we were very close to going to the Olympics. So I'm sure that in our games we could have done better, but it was the most that we could do. Our team was always somewhere between 7th and 10th, somewhere there. And we had a peak in 2005 and 2006 when we finished sixth and fourth, sixth at the Worlds and fourth at the Europeans. And then we kind of slid back
Yeah.
to our position.
I mean, it's a pretty remarkable achievement what you've just mentioned there. For those that don't know, in Montreal, you were sixth in the
Yeah.
World Championships, and fourth at the European Championships in Belgrade. And all due respect to Romania now, like that's insane. That to be
We were just changing generation,
yeah,
and we were kind of trying to, let's say, follow up 10 years before. In 93 finished fourth,
yeah,
13 years before. And
yeah,
I think there was a lot of pride in trying to keep ourselves there, to be able to play with everyone and be able to actually have good results.
yeah. Um, I will talk about London in a second, obviously my hometown and the Olympics. But um, was there a point in your career you mentioned it just then that it's every water polo player's dream to go to the Olympics? That's really the big goal. Was there ever a period where you thought actually we missed out in 2000, we missed out 2004, we missed out 2008? Did you ever think it actually probably wouldn't happen?
Uh, Not really, because I'm an optimist.
Fine.
But let's put it like this: after we didn't qualify in 2008, I was depressed for a couple of months. I like seriously depressed. I was in a bad place. I couldn't believe that we couldn't make it.
I mean, Canada. I
With
mean,
all the respect,
you
Canada,
beat
it
them.
was all out.
You beat them by like 12 goals about 3 weeks before
Exactly.
that playoff.
Exactly.
Excuse me, which makes the result, you know, bizarre. But I bet you
I think
guys would just
that's the pressure that took its toll. And
yeah,
also, I'm gonna give credit to all the Canadian players and the head coach because they prepared the game and they played as well as they could, and they beat us. And they beat us the year before
yeah,
in Melbourne. So I think we were supposed to know better, but
yeah, yeah,
that's history now.
yeah. I bet there's that summer or after you just replaying that game over in your head. What you
Yeah,
could have done.
exactly. So that was a low point, let's put it that, in my career when I was really.
Yeah. Would you say that's the lowest point in your career? Do you think?
I think so. There are tough times, but nothing. extraordinary. Depends on where you're playing. I'm comparing it now with the clubs. In the national team, you kind of know where you are. You want to be better, and you're trying. And
Yeah,
like, you have these players, and you're gonna play with them, and that's it.
yeah,
You cannot change anything.
yeah. Moving away from the slightly depressing note of not making Beijing, just briefly on London. How amazing was that for you,
Oh,
for some
that
of
was
your teammates to
basically
finally be
the
there?
the realization of our dreams, because everybody wanted to for us to we all wanted to go there. And I think there are great games, great experience. It's hard to put into words. You get to play at the toppest level. I don't even know how to say it, the greatest level.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and you get that experience that you cannot actually get anywhere else. Those games are played every fourth year, and it shows. I actually felt it. It was different.
Different,
Oh yeah,
different energy,
exactly, different energy, different concentration, and everybody gives a little bit more than normal.
of course, of course. Um, okay, we'll talk a bit about your retirement. So you're living it up now, taking it nice and easy, with the role of vice president of the federation. Lots of hard work. Before we talk on to the in and outs of that, you had a 24, 25, give or take, year professional career, and you're in a quite a unique position where you had quite a long career where you have played over a period of time where there's been a lot of change in water polo in some ways and also not a lot in others. Um, do you think, in your opinion, professional water polo, the game, is in a better place now than it was when you started, or do you think it's not actually progressed in the ways it should?
I think that water polo, like all the sports, is trying to become more attractive to the public. So all the changes that they are being tried, I think they're going towards that, making it more spectacular, more understandable in some way for the public, even though with some decision maybe it got harder. But the idea is to make it more fun for the spectators, from my knowledge. So I think it's hard. It's better. It went in the better in a better way now, because it was a lot more static 20 years ago. There was less swimming and even less action than it's now. Now you have to be better prepared, and the speed of the game increased. I think it actually shows by the number of goals, that if you look at the good games, they all pass 10 goals, all the teams. So it makes it more spectacular.
Do you think the clubs are more professional?
I hope so.
You hope so. No, it's in like in your experience, because you played in Italy
ah,
at a time where professional water polo, some people have said that was the peak in Italy in that period of time in the early 2000s to late 2000. That was the best professional water polo has ever been in terms of the clubs, the elite performance level. I mean, do you agree with that?
in Italy,
Yeah, at
maybe.
that
In
time.
Italy, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe in Italy that was the peak in the 2000s. But that has to do with the economic part of things, not necessarily with the way that the coaches and the players are practicing, and playing. So that's why I'm saying maybe,
Yeah.
but it's not
Being
all about the
cautious.
money. Yeah, it's not all about the money. If I would say that, yeah, it regressed, it didn't really regress, because we are the players are practicing harder, they are swimming better. So I wouldn't say that.
Okay. Okay. Um, let's talk about your current role then, the vice president of the Water Polo Federation in Romania. How are you enjoying it?
Uh, it's quite different than what I was used with. So a lot of administrative things to do, a lot of meetings, a lot of walking around. My calendar is it's not as straightforward as it was before. Like 2 practices a day, be at home or do something in between and enjoy the day. Now it's different. I enjoy the day, but it's quite different.
Yeah. Can you give a bit of insight to maybe what a normal day looks like? I know you said a lot of walking around, maybe a lot of handshaking, a lot of admin and stuff, but what is the responsibility? What are your responsibilities as the vice president of a federation?
uh, well, first off, we have again administrative meetings where we take decisions regarding the whole water polo. We're talking about small decisions and about bigger decision as a whole. Where you're gonna play, with whom you're gonna play, which generation is gonna train, with whom is gonna train, and it's sometimes I think that is stuff that doesn't have to do anything with water polo, but is necessary. It's a necessary evil because without that, water polo wouldn't function. It's not really the nicest thing, the coolest thing, but you have to do it for water polo to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
to be productive,
yeah.
to function.
It's not all
Yeah,
fun and games. There's a lot
yeah,
of stuff that goes on behind the scenes
yeah.
that
A lot of
people
papers,
maybe
a lot of papers, a lot
a
of
lot of
papers.
papers. Yeah, yeah, good, good. I mean, we do have a normally we ask questions in the second part. We do kind of have a question here from Hajmi on Instagram, and he says, "What is your plan as vice president? I really want Romania to be more competitive in water polo." And he's from Hungary, and it's part of a broader question from me. It's like, what's your vision for Romanian water polo?
I think that's a very good question. That's we felt like in the last years we started falling from our position where we were before we started being passed by other nationals. So we are trying to get back there. With that being said, we need to have better results in the juniors in order to be able and also continue working what we're doing with the national team. I think we the team has was changed the past few years, and the last guys that played in the Olympics in 2012 they now stopped. So you have a
Yeah,
complete new generation that
yeah,
is free to try and to do the best it can, and we have to provide them with the right let's say train right. I don't know how to put it into
no, no, I know what you mean. Like infrastructure,
right.
maybe
We have
like
to give them the right tools for them
tools.
to be able to
Yeah.
succeed.
I don't mean this disrespectfully at all. Obviously, you were part of a generation that, that fourth place at the Euros in 2006 and that sixth place World Championships. I think it's fair to say Romania at the moment are maybe like a borderline top nation in water polo. Not on perhaps the level of, Hungary, Serbia, Croatia, but of course, like you consistently go to the European Championships. The women this season really have done really well. They qualified for split, they against all odds really, and they managed to qualify in that really really cool event in Bucharest. Steaua Bucharest basically go to the Champions League every season, and there's that element. I know there's a few clubs in Bucharest and in the Super League and stuff. There is a question coming. So you have those good things, and I'm from the UK where we don't have professional teams. We we rarely qualify for the European Championships and stuff like that. And so you've got all of that in place. What do you think you need to do as a country to push on from being okay, a team that once every 4 or 5 years has the possibility to finish in the top eight, to being consistently competing juniors, men, women, and also the club competitions.
I think we need to improve our actual water polo knowledge level. I think that's where we need to, and it's on all levels, not just one level. We already, as you said, we already do a lot of positive things. We qualified with the women for the first time, and we are progressing there quite fast. Uh, with the guys, we are trying to again get back to where we are. To be nowadays, we're it's true. We're not competitive when it comes to playing with the top teams. So we need to be right back there. And I think we have the tools to do that. And but it takes time. You cannot do it overnight. Uh,
Yeah.
so it will
You
take a few years.
you say
But
you
first,
need to,
you have to want to do it. From my
of
point of view,
course.
you have to want to do it because if you don't put your goals, if you don't have high goals, then nothing will happen. So we need inside of our federation, we are trying to build that winning mentality.
Maybe this is an unfair question to ask, but do you feel that you're surrounded by the right people? The federation is in the right place. Everything is you.
Water polo in Romania is a very small
Sure,
community.
sure, but
So
do you feel like everyone that you're involved with is all on the same page? You're around the same. You're surrounding yourself with people of a similar goal.
we are trying to do that. Yeah,
Okay,
because
good.
it's not always fun and games. Sometimes we're gonna have conversations that aren't going the way you want to, but we're trying to get the most out of everybody.
Okay. Just one last thing before we go to part two. You said water polo knowledge. Maybe Romania need a little bit more water polo knowledge. Do you mean coaching? Do you mean as in the way clubs, professional clubs are run? Do you mean the way competitions are held?
Well,
Or
when you've never actually won a medal uh, in the with the national team, because we actually never won a medal, then you cannot say that you're the top level.
yeah,
You That means that you need to learn some more, from my point of view.
okay,
So that's what I mean. Because we can be better. We can be better on all the levels. Administrative level, we can do it better.
sure.
It just needs time to be shown, or we need someone to show us the way, or change a little bit the ways that we are doing it right now. So or that we were doing it before.
Okay, and obviously you've been abroad, you've experienced different clubs, different leagues, and I think I speak on behalf of everyone involved in Romanian water polo that they're very lucky to have you involved, and it's good to see that you're helping Romania out. That's all we've got for part one. We've got some questions in part two, if that's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
Can't wait for them.
Welcome back to part two of the Total Water Polo podcast, where we're with Cosmin Radu, and we've got some questions that you've sent in on social media. Cosmin, every week we ask the same question to all our guests. We ask them to give their dream seven, their ultimate team of players they've played with or not played with, past or present. So you've got to pick a goalkeeper, centre forward, centre back, and then players on the arc and wingers. So you've played with a fair few top players, and yeah, let's hear it. I'm excited.
um, of the ones that I played at the same time, or the ones before my time.
Anyone, it can be anyone, any seven players, any seven players.
Oh my god. You just made it
Oh my
hard.
god! You know, I'll tell you what. That's the reaction we get every week. Listeners don't get to see it, but literally, guys, when I ask this question on the Zoom, the guest always puts their face in their hands, and they're like, "Oh, got to do
I mean,
this."
I I I have to say Estiarte, for instance. Like I have to, but then again, there is one more spot left for all the who you are gonna put on the left side. Then you have Kashash. You have. It's This is a trick question. It's not fair. Okay,
Well, I mean,
let's make it. I would say,
goalkeeper. Start with
yeah,
goalkeeper,
with a
maybe.
goalie. Oh,
Not easy because there's so
not
many
this.
good goalkeepers, but
Yeah, they pop up in my head, and I'm gonna say something. Chigir. I'm gonna say
yeah,
something crazy. Chigir. Yeah,
okay.
because he is.
Hardest keeper you've ever played against? Do you think?
Yeah, one of the hardest. Yeah, he would keep
Yeah.
his team in the game no matter what. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the best. Let's put a defender. I'm gonna skip on Ivovic, and I'm gonna say Vujasinovic. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
I mean, you know, because I know you don't consider yourself a centre forward, but you've invariably found yourself in the pit, and
Yeah,
I'm a
he
centre
was
forward as
so
well.
good. He was so good. He didn't even use the force. He would use his technique, and he would dominate.
Yeah, yeah.
On the right side, that's a tough one. That's really a tough one.
I mean, in past weeks we've had people that haven't said seven. They've gone like, okay, for each position, maybe two players. You know, maybe a bench as well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
because you
start.
have
I'm gonna have
to.
to change it to a
I'm
dream
thinking. I'm
13.
thinking. Let's say Madarash. Let's say, and I'm gonna forget names. They are just not gonna pop
Of
in my
course.
head, and that's even worse. Because you have a lot of great players. Then you have the ones that are still playing. I'm gonna say Filipovic. Uh, Man, on the left side, I still have one spot left. I'm not gonna say Danesh because I play with him. I'm gonna give it to Vanya. I played with him 1 year, but still, Vanya was a pretty. I think he stopped too early. So that would be and the center. Oh, that's a hard one.
You,
We, I say,
you.
I have. Oof. We have Hinic, Ivan Perez. Oh my god. Calcaterra was a beast. Well,
Go. You
I'm
have to
gonna
pick
stop
one.
at those three. Let's put it like this.
Okay, three centre
Yeah.
forwards. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Here's here's a quite an interesting question. It's from Alex Lazar 11, and the question he asks is, why didn't you want a second nationality? And I think what he's asking to the question he's asking is, did you ever feel there was a time for you where you thought, okay, I'm not going to achieve everything I want to achieve in the game by playing for Romania? Did it ever come across your mind? Because it,
Can easily answer to that. I have a Croatian nationality, so I have a double citizenship. But it was
okay,
my choice to play just for Romania. It
oh
was
okay,
my. I just couldn't bear myself after being. I got a nationality in 2014 after being after playing for 15 years for a national team, being the captain of the team. I did not find the strength within myself to say that now I'm going to play for another national teams. Even though I got the Croatian nationality and I am a Croatian citizen.
yeah, of course. Well, you've got a house there, and you played there
It's my second
for
home.
yeah, second. Yeah, perfect,
We don't have
perfect.
to, we won't forget that.
No, no, we won't. I'm going to bring it up every question. Um, but yeah, no, just on that, um, it's quite a presumptuous thing to say to assume that if someone's good enough that they'll just go and play for another country. There's a lot of pride in playing for your country, and it's not. It's
I think it comes. I'm not judging in any way. I think it's a very subjective thing.
yeah,
It goes from person to person and their life and their decisions. So I don't think that
yeah.
a lot of people think like me, and I don't think that a lot of people can actually go and play for another national team. So
I mean, a few weeks ago we spoke to Felipe Peroni, and he explained it. And when he explained it to us and said, "Look, I mean, there was nothing for me in
yeah,
Brazil.
it makes
I
sense.
moved to
Yeah,
Spain, and then when obviously the Rio Olympics, the opportunity to play in his hometown, you can understand it. You can
yeah.
understand it. Anyway, moving on. What I mean, and I just want to say for those that are younger, maybe younger than I am, who maybe haven't seen, we didn't get the pleasure of seeing you play, definitely go onto YouTube, and I think it's Water Polo France have got an 8-minute compilation of basically your best goals. And leading on to this question, what do you think the best goal that you've ever scored is?
Never crossed my mind. Wait, let me
No,
think about that. The best goal. I'm gonna say the last one, but
the last one.
It's not really. I mean, I
No,
scored.
no, but
I was again. It was my position and my quality of. It was my attribute scoring goals. So I never thought of it as it was the way I was helping my team. I never thought of it as something special. I mean, someone swims, someone plays defense, someone the goalie, it's always in the goal. My role was to be in the offense, to get exclusions and score goals, and I never actually thought too much about the goals that I scored. I think that when I was really young, when I was really, really young, my head coach said, "Listen, I don't care how you score the goals. It's important that it passes goes in the net. We are not in football here that they are gonna write 10 paragraphs about the post that you you missed. Just put it in the goal." So I always thought about that. Just to score the goal, I don't really care about the beauty of it. Okay, obviously, if I see it afterwards, I say, "Ooh, that was a nice goal." But yeah, I think
I
there are a
mean,
lot of situations where I could say that there were nice goals.
yeah, yeah, there were. There were an awful lot. There were goals. I mean, as I've said, go on YouTube, listeners, if you need reminding. There's goals that Cosmin scored that he has absolutely no right to score. There's three players dropping. It's like you can score. Yeah, it's one of the only players I feel like when there's three players dropping, you can still put the ball in the net. Like honestly,
That was the
it's
advantage
incredible.
of being a lefty thing, because a lot of the defenders weren't used playing against left-handers, so it gave me a slight advantage in movement and tricking them and 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 getting myself free.
Yeah,
That's the advantage of being just 10% of the population, I guess.
yeah, 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 yeah. I noticed a lot of your goals. You move the ball onto your left, and that really confused players, some defenders.
That's
You'd really quickly move the ball
that's how
from one hand.
I was taught to defend the position. First, the fake with a I would a lot of times get the ball as if I was a right hander. So I would have to let's say adapt to that. But it because everybody plays against right-handed centers, maybe I would find myself in a position where the defender goes on the left shoulder, which is by the way wrong for a left-hander, and then the ball would have to come on the right side. So I would go right left and then try to score or something. Yeah, but yeah, I was totally that, and I would do it. I had a Besides having a good coach in the juniors, I was fortunate enough to have Dusan Popovic in Florencia, and I learned a lot of theory with him. And
Good.
before him, I didn't know how to teach a center how to play center, because if you ask me, I don't know what I'm doing.
It's
I'm going
instinct.
there and
Instinct.
doing
Yeah.
something my best. Now I actually know the theory, how you're supposed to be positioning and what to do with your body and everything.
Well, yeah. Make sure you forward the email on to me, and I'll because I'd be interested in reading
I'm
the theory.
typing. I'm typing as we talk.
Oh, good, 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 good. Okay, moving on. Mandre2386 says, "What do you think of the junior championships in Romania?" So, for people that aren't aware of how the setup is in Romania, do you want to explain
We're
the
playing.
junior
Yeah,
championship?
we have tournaments. We are playing tournaments. The first phase is being played regional, and the best three teams go to play the finals, which are being played which are another two tournaments being played. I think that after many years, there were this year a junior two under I think it's under 16. Uh, there are three or four teams that were battling for the championship. So I
That's
think
good.
that's what I'm saying. There's future, and I like that very much. And I see a lot of people working on in the pools, and I am positive that the championship will become better and better.
And the standard is a good standard.
It can be better.
Yep.
Well, the standard is no. The problem is that for the past, let's say 6-7 years, we didn't have good results in the Europeans. Finishing
Yeah.
13th is not a good result. So, no, I don't think anyone is satisfied. We want to be better.
Okay.
So, no, the standard is not high enough.
Okay. Okay. Well, your job to make sure it improves
Exactly.
over the next few years.
It's my
Okay.
responsibility.
Luke Kieranchich asks, "What is your favourite attribute to see in a teammate?" I really like this question. Your favourite attribute. So, what feature, favourite quality, would you love to see in a teammate?
To be positive. To be positive. That was
Who
something that
who was who was the most positive teammate you ever had?
Xavi Garcia.
Javi.
He was. He's always been very fun to be around. But
Fun,
I,
but is
I would
in
lie.
positive in the game? He was always say, "Come on, boys, that we can do this,"
Yeah,
or
yeah.
is he just a funny guy?
Besides being funny, he's always been positive. That's what I'm saying. So
Okay, okay.
shit happens, and you go down, but he was always there trying to cheer everybody up.
And you consider yourself quite an optimist as well?
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So
yeah, that would go pretty well with what I just said. No, I
fine.
actually know that I'm optimist because I had a teammate in Mladost, and I would come in the afternoon. I would come in the afternoon at the afternoon practice, and I was happy. And everybody there was down, and he was like, "Why are you happy?" I said, "Why shouldn't I be happy? I'm coming at the pool doing what I love. Why shouldn't I be happy?"
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Um, we've got a question here from, and I'm gonna absolutely ruin the pronunciation, so apologies in advance. Domagoya Chinovic asks, Zagreb or Rijeka? Which one's better? And here we are. We're back to the house thing over again. But
Well, I'm gonna be politically correct now. Uh, Zagreb
both are
is,
very nice.
yeah,
Blah blah blah.
Zagreb is more like Bucharest. It's a big city. Is the capital. So there you have everything that you want. But in Rijeka, I had more fun. So you tell me which one is better. And you have
Well,
the sea, and you also have the sea.
yeah, it's very diplomatic. But
Yeah,
for the person that asked that question,
I think he
I would
knows.
look it.
I think he knows.
I would look into where someone bought a house, and that probably says it all. To be honest. Okay, moving on. Michael underscore Sharrett, also on Instagram, says, "What is your key point for a junior player from, and in their words, from a non-water polo country?" So, I mean, you know, we spoke a little bit about it, but did you consider when you were growing up Romania to be a non-water polo? Yeah, it's in like
No,
a non-major,
no.
because
We have a
you've
type of
spoken in.
pride. We have a type of pride, and we consider ourselves good.
Yeah.
So no, we never. We've always battled everybody. So no, I never consider Romania a non-water polo team. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
But so back to the
Yeah,
question. Um, okay, so you didn't come from a non-water polo
yeah.
country. If you want, so what would you say the key point for a junior player from a country like that? What advice would you give?
Oh, I used to learn the basics. That's
Then the basics.
yeah, and to have someone that teaches him. That's I think the hardest part because you need to know the basics. And I'm not talking about swimming. I'm talking about water polo, about what you're supposed to be doing in the water, how to swim, how to shoot, how to pass, all the small things. I think those are for a junior. Those are the most important things for sure,
Okay.
more than anything.
Okay. Okay. You played obviously in Romania, obviously,
A couple of
Italy.
years.
Yeah, just for a few years. Nothing too big. Obviously you went to Croatia as well. Um, was there a country that you never got to play? Well, I mean, there are countries that you never played in, but if there was one that you wish you could have played in the league, where would it be?
Mm.
And if I can be really cheeky, maybe even ask for a club.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking. No, actually, no, because I wanted to play in Italy and I wanted to play in in Croatia. Croatia actually gave me the opportunity to play against all year against teams from Serbia and Montenegro, which are not not the same. They are different in the style of playing. So it gave I got the opportunity to play against them. I never actually wanted to play in. Okay, I never wanted. That would be a lie. In Hungary, it's a very different championship, and I don't think it's fitted for me as a center. Uh, and that's why I never actually felt the 100% need to play in Hungary. I think that in Spain is a very fast championship, very fast. And in France, while I was playing, maybe in France I would have liked now, but now to play, maybe I don't know, because now they became more interesting. They have more
Yeah,
teams, and I like it when you have a lot of games and interesting
yeah,
games. In Italy, it was like that. In Italy, it was like that. Every game was a
yeah.
battle. So
France is a different prospect now
yeah,
as it
yeah.
was. Um,
Six,
but
7 years ago, not even that far.
just something you just said about the Hungarian league. Why do you think, as a centre, it wouldn't have suited you? Do you think
Because they have a mentality shoot first, and as a center, I depend on my
that's crap?
teammates.
That's
I'm 100% dependent on my teammates, and when they feed me the ball. So that's why I
okay.
always thought it wasn't mm, a great fit for me. Of course, that I could have played. I don't think that I couldn't have played, but from my point perspective, it's always been more interesting to go to countries that go put more accent on playing with a center.
Okay, okay, that's really interesting. Um, is there a young Romanian prospect, maybe men and women? You can maybe offer one for both that you think that the water polo world should be looking out for over the next 3, 4, 5+ years. Maybe it's difficult just to say one, but
I'm gonna, I can say it. It's one guy. He's 17. He's a lefty, Andrei Namcu. He has potential, big potential, but he's a long way from becoming. He can become a very good player. Very good,
yeah.
very good. And him
And for the
being
women,
17, he for men, uh, the best one that I saw. Uh, she's 20, I think. Brianna Mihaila. Yeah,
okay, all right. Watch out for them, listeners. They'll be yeah, they'll be on the scene.
yeah.
They'll be on the scene. Um, we ask this also to every guest we have because I think it is an important aspect. People listen because they want to hear you guys speak and they want to get to know you outside of water polo. And I appreciate, in the 41 years you've been live, it's taken up a lot of time. But what do you do to relax? How do you like to spend any free time that you may or may not get, if it's not going through papers or in your second home in Rijeka?
Well, right now I discovered snowboarding because it's winter, and since I wasn't really allowed to do any other sports before, now I did a lot the past month and a half. I think, yeah, something like that.
In Romania?
Yeah, yeah, in Romania, and I started learning how to snowboard, and I really, really love that. Really, it was frustrating at the beginning because I used to fall a lot, and I still do,
Yeah,
but I really like it as a sport, as a
yeah,
as a way to spend my free time. I like to do. Otherwise, I'm with my friends. I am pretty basic. I try to I try to do normal things. I don't do
yeah.
anything out of the ordinary.
No, no. But you go out for drinks, a meal,
Well,
or stuff.
Corona, it was kind
Yeah,
of hard the past 2 years. Now everything is open here, so maybe starting doing again that too. That would be nice. Yeah.
perfect, 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 perfect. Look, that's all the questions we've got. Cosmin, you've been fantastic as expected. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Wow, I mean that was a lot of fun. He is so positive. He loves a laugh, and what a great player. Honestly, for those that are younger generation, go to YouTube, type in Cosmin Radu, goals or Cosmin Radu, maybe look at that 6 or 7 minute compilation by France Water Polo, I think the YouTube channel is. You'll be blown away. Ball goes into the pit, it's goal. It's goal. And it's just fantastic. And I love speaking to him. Thank you very much for joining us this week. As we said at the beginning, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a like or a review or a share, anything like that, helps us out, helps us to develop the podcast and connect with people that want to listen. And of course, don't miss out on 10% off at wearwaterpolo.com with our discount code podcast10. See you next week.